yes, we're starting out the old vlog with a good sunshine morning, and I just been to one of my good friends, Daniel, up by the old US Auto Speed Shop, you know what I mean? And we just scored something really nice, really cool for the Challenger. Well, I'm not really sure if it's a screw yet. This might be a shitty transmission that's not worth anything. I already said what it is. It's a transmission. It's a transmission. Oh yeah, we also got some Here My Orange, baby. And some Perm 6 RCV right here. We want the good stuff for the 440. Here My Orange keychain? Sure, bud. Sorry about the mess right now. I kind of did an emergency brake and everything kind of flew a little bit. Anyway, here in the back of the Roadkill Corolla. Did you know, by the way, the daily driver is this old hunk of junk? Coyote. This is what we got right here. Twin free splined A833 mopar transmission. You can see it right here. A3. That's the I don't know if that's the ticket. Anyway, by the way, let's try to look up the old wind code at some point and see where the hell does this come from. Also, if you guys want to pause the video right now and find it yourself, you can do that, because I might never gonna get to it because I really don't care at all. But maybe a little bit because of gear ratios. Definitely had a pilot bearing that, I don't know, wore into the shaft a little bit. It's not grooved or anything, but it's almost like the bronze part got stuck to the shaft itself. I don't know, that seems weird. Then we got these weird shifter balls on it. I have no idea what shifter he ran, but definitely not an original one, so that's kind of weird. And it's the long shafted one with we got the front mounting pad and also the rear mounting pad, which would be a 70 to 71 B body, E body, if not 71 to, 70 to 74. I don't know, but it's definitely for an E/B body. So yeah, and we also got a shifting plate. That's kind of nice, because these things can be hard to find. And if you got to get a new one from, let's say, Brewer's Performance in a CNC piece, that's easily like a $50-100 piece right there. Also, don't mind the headers, just small block Chevy stuff, boring. Also, bell housing. Aluminum unit. Look at this. I can lift it with one, in this case, a fuck finger. Great. Real nice condition. Original piece, Mopar piece. I'm not too sure. There's not any Mopar marking on it. Got the Mopar numbers right there. It says 69. Is that 1969? I have no idea. And then there's this thing going on. So normally you have your clutch push out rod thingy majobber right here. And then this thing. Homemade hydraulic clutch. Sadly, the master cylinder is like long gone. There's no saving that, I think. But maybe we could just put a new one on and run this. I don't know. Probably gonna go with like an American powertrain on the dash kit or something in this case. But still. Well, time to ruin my back. It's a cast iron thing, and it's even more heavy than, I don't know, your M20 Chevy transmission, whatever. By the way, this thing. Light. That's really cool. That's a cool piece. Time to throw the old bag out. The old bag. Okay, last time I deadlifted one of these things were 2 years ago for the Roadrunner. Let's see if I've gotten stronger since. Apparently, because I couldn't lift it that easy back then. Shoo-wee. Okay, now that I remember, the transmission for the Roadrunner had a cast iron bell housing and a shifter on it and shifting rods. It was probably 40 pounds heavier than that thing. Okay, never mind. Remember the orange/yellow paint on the 440 engine that I said it was gonna haunt me? Here's an example. Orange paint. Orange. And the freaking yellow again. Are you kidding me? Maybe this bell housing was from this engine one point at a time in its life? I don't know. Well, anyway, let's jump into this thing. I'm just gonna put on a glove because this thing is kind of dirty. So, there you go. One gear right there. Then you got neutral. Another gear right there. Another gear right there. Another gear right there. Do we have reverse? What is all this? Is all this like clothing line thing on it? I don't know. Reverse? Yep. Actually, a nice shifting reverse. And we got for the speedometer cable, if that's necessary at some point. And that's some more yellow paint. Gosh dang it. And again, we got the two mounting pads, which are a great plus. Is the Allen screws stripped out in it? No? That's a new one. Here's something funny that's knocked into the case of the transmission. So this is Danish, right? So it says Big Bearing 308. I would assume that's the main bearing on the main input shaft right here. That's the 308 bearing, or like the main shaft that has 308 bearings. Not sure, but it says big bearing 308. Let me know exactly in the comments if you guys know what that is. I'm gonna look all this stuff up when I get home after this video. Well, let's put this thing on its side. There you go. Still got a drain plug, also a fill plug on the other side that's not rounded off or anything, so that's real nice. And it's black all the way, and look at there, we got some fluid coming out of it. So that's a good sign. If this thing was stocked with no fluid, that would not be that great. So let's get this right here. 1/2 inch bolt, the old Milwaukee. Also on these covers you have 2 shoulders bolt, I believe, that are kind of like locating this cover, so it shifts nice. And if you guys just saw like the latest revival of a 70 Charger on the Chris Birdsong channel, he had a transmission problem where it wouldn't go into reverse, and the simple fix was actually just loosen all the bolts and then hammer this cover like up this way, and then it would shift, because the tolerances on the reverse lever or whatever stuff is so tight that it would end up like binding up on the first and second gear lever, I believe. So I'm not really sure. And we're also gonna remove the reverse lever, I just realized. And there it is, cover is off. Came off really easy, and look at this. We have some nice shifter forks. Already a telltale sign that this is a later transmission is the bronze shifting mechanism arms, whatever, I can't remember what they call it, shifter collars or whatever. And then I believe we have over here we have the ball D10 style shifter right here. So this is supposed to be an older than 1970 transmission. I think that's the way it goes. But yeah, later on they get a different shifter mechanism, which is a spring detent thing with like a lever instead of the ball detent. And then also these shifting arms goes over to being steel instead, which is a good upgrade, because of course like the bronze or whatever is softer. But man, the condition inside of this trans, look at this. Luckily it was stocked with like some ATF fluid in it. You can see all the red fluid and everything. Look, we got our original like paint markings over here. And this thing spins nice. The only thing is like, I feel like there's a little bit of slop in the gears. Tiny bit. I'm not too sure. And then of course the fact that we had this amount of play in input shaft, which I feel like is a little bit more than I had on my own transmissions. But again, there was also slop on the transmissions that I put in. And also again, the pilot bushing is also there to hold up a little bit of that slack. So I'm not too sure. It's an old type transmission, which usually all manual trans that I had have a little bit of play in the input shaft.